We're in the middle of August. School has started in almost all counties in metro Atlanta. And so I wanted to give you an update on the Atlanta housing market because we are entering a true buyer's market in most areas. And I say entering because 6 months is considered to be if we have 6 months of inventory, meaning if no other buyers come on the market, the existing buyers, it would take 6 months for all inventory to sell. So that's what it means to be in a buyer's market. And in most areas, we're at 4 to 5 months. So we are approaching a true buyer's market. And just on the ground, agents talking, me talking to builders, me talking to lenders, things are slowing down. Because if you think about it, many families are a big part of the housing market. And a lot of them just put their children in school and they don't want to move right now. They don't want to have to pull Johnny out of kindergarten to go to another kindergarten. If they haven't found a house this summer, this spring, then they'll wait usually till next summer or spring to make that move. And because interest rates are in like the mid sixes, 6.7 about right now, that they're not incentivized to make that move either, currently. They'll keep on renting, they'll keep on living with their parents, they'll stay in their current house. I say the 4 Ds are what's moving people right now. They are divorce. People are getting divorced, have to sell their house, have to move. There are unfortunately deaths in families where they have to sell the house after a loved one dies. There are diamonds, meaning people are getting engaged, they're getting married, and they want to buy a house, even if it's not the most. Well, a lot of times it makes financial sense because before it was only one person. Now you have two people, so you can't afford a home if you did not think you could afford one before. And the last one is diapers. You're having a baby, and you want to live in a place where, okay, I'm more stable, I'm more settled, it has a yard, those types of things. So, but other than that, people that own homes are generally staying in them because they're affordable to them right now. And like I said, not a lot of people are incentivized to buy unless they're having those life changes that makes them want to buy a house right now. So if you're thinking about buying or selling and you're facing one of these things, or if you're just buying because you're ready to buy, definitely reach out. But I want to go over some data in the Atlanta housing market. I'm Shahida Hill with the Hill team, your West Georgia realtors. So let me add some slides. I'm going to go over just 4 slides with you. So like I said, we're at 4 to 5 months of inventory. Inventory is still rising. So there more homes are coming on the market every day. So inventory is rising and then things are not going off the market as quickly. So that's why we have just more inventory, and sellers are reducing prices. And all of these speak to the buyer's market. Sellers are reducing the price so they can get more buyers interested in their property. And again, mortgage rates are in the mid to high sixes. Some conventional mortgages will be in the low sevens. It really depends on what's happening with the Iran war. When, we're at more, when there's a ceasefire, things generally go down. But when there's some uncertainty about what's going on, there are more attacks, then rates are going to go up because oil prices also go up during that time. So, what I'm seeing with builders, new construction, I'm seeing in the West Georgia area homes that have been sitting on the market, new construction homes sitting on the market, especially under like 700,000. So if you're under 700,000, we're going to talk about the luxury market in a second. But if you're under 700,000, you're generally staying on the market a little bit longer. I know some builders who have had standing inventory, move-in ready homes since November of last year. And they're just now generally cutting prices significantly so they can try to get more eyes on those that standing inventory. And they're not building. So they're not speculatively building. They're not building and saying, "Oh, we'll have buyers." They're building once somebody puts a contract on that lot, or they're once they sell their standing inventory. So if you go to some subdivisions and you drive around, you'll probably not see a lot of building if they already have standing inventory that has not sold. A big part of that also is school has started. So they know there will be less people in the market. So they have to incentivize. They're incentivizing with lower interest rates. They're incentivizing with a lot of builders have started to cut prices significantly, and they're incentivizing with closing costs. So if you are in the market and you want new construction, you are going to find all of those incentives. Many times you can make a builder an offer, and if you're willing, if you're flexible and you're willing to walk away if they don't accept that offer, it's a good time just to put an offer on the table to a builder and see if they accept it. Because again, there's a lot less buyers on the market. So I've had a lot of luck with just putting an offer out there. Again, they may not accept it. So my client has to be willing to walk away if they don't. But I've had sellers who initially, or builders that initially say no to it, call back, week or 2 weeks later saying they will accept it. So it's just something that you have to be, if you're a flexible person in the market and willing to walk away from resales or new construction, then you're in a good position right now in this market. And I want to speak briefly about our K-shaped economy. I don't know if you've heard this, this term, but this is very true in the economy and very true in the real estate market. You have people at the top of this K where they are the 20% of buyers and sellers in this market, where they've been able to accumulate wealth a lot lately because the stock market has gone up significantly through real estate. So the value of their homes have gone up. Even if they're not living in Georgia right now, they may be living in other parts of the state. They had huge equity gains over the pandemic on their homes. So what a lot of them are doing are selling those homes in those high price states, coming down to, the South, not just Atlanta, but this is Florida, Arizona, Texas, North Carolina, South Carolina. Tennessee is big right now. So they're coming down south with that money, and a lot of them are able to buy homes cash. So, and I've had people that have moved to Georgia and they have bought homes cash as well. So that's at 20%. They're not as impacted by mortgage rates. They're buying those luxury homes. The homes over $1 million are actually up 14% in Georgia. Like, more people are buying luxury properties than are buying homes that are in the lower part of the market. Or that part of the market has increased, where the general $400,000, $500,000 house has remained flat or has gained maybe 1%. So everybody else is in the other 80% are in that down-shaped economy. They're concerned about the higher prices of things, inflation, gas prices, their job, their employment, all of those things. So they're in that 80%. So that if you're in that part of the market, if you're buying a house in that price range, I would say the average price right now is between, especially in West Georgia, 350 to probably about 600,000. So if you're in that, you're not in the luxury market, you're in like the everyday, that 80% market, middle class market, then homes are staying on the market longer. So if you are a buyer, then you're in a good position because you have time to look for a house. Homes that you see on Saturday probably are still going to be on the market the next week, the next 2 weeks. They're waiting for the buyer because there's not as many buyers out there. But you're also looking for something that's move-in ready, that doesn't have an old roof or old major systems like HVAC, water heaters, things like that. You need to be able to walk in affordably with not a lot of rehab. And if you're in that 80%, and if you're in that 80% and you're a seller, so if you have a house that is priced between 300,000 and say 500,000, then you have to make sure you need to use some of that equity to get that house prepared for some of those buyers that can afford that price point. They don't want to come in, and I've had this happen. I've had buyers walk away because the seller was not willing to replace the roof, even though the roof was about 15 years old, or not replace HVAC systems. Buyers are not willing to buy your house with old systems and knowing in their mind they're going to have to replace them, because it's going to be on their inspection report where the inspector is going to say, hey, this is at the end of life, so you're probably going to have to replace it. So if they know going into a situation, they may love your home, but if they know that they have to replace your roof, they're going to have to replace the water heater, the HVAC in the next 2 to 3 years, then that's a financial burden that they're not willing to take. So if they, and that's why a lot of them are going to the new construction. So as a resale seller, you have to make sure your house is attractive to that type of buyer. And that's what I've been telling more people that are entering the market right now as sellers, how they need to prepare their homes. And I have not taken some listings because the sellers were not willing to do some things. All right, I'm gonna go to my last slide. And this is more detail on the West Georgia market, like what's happening in West Georgia. So in Fulton County, then the average sales price is $928,000. And, we have North Fulton, Central Metro Atlanta, City of Atlanta areas. And then you have South Fulton. So that average is 928, but in South Fulton, you're going to find a much lower price point. And their homes are on the market for about 39 days on average. And then you have Douglas County, that's where I am. Our average price is 354,000 and the average days on the market is 50. Paulding County, that's where I grew up. Is the average is 348,000 and they're at about 48 days on the market. And these are July, because we're still in August, these are July numbers, but I expect these numbers to increase. Like I said, now that school has started, you're going to see longer days on the market and you're probably going to see some lower prices and you're going to see more inventory. So on the color, the bar graph, those are the months of inventory. And like I said, as we approach 6 months, that's a true buyer's market. So Paulding County, I just did that. Carroll County averages 385 for homes, and days on the market is 43. And then Cobb County, they're at 590. That's the highest in West Georgia, not including Fulton County. And the average days on the market is 30. And Cobb County is the lowest months of inventory at 3.6. So they're still approaching a buyer's market. They're in that balanced market area. But again, once school starts, I definitely anticipate, let me close this. Once school starts, I definitely anticipate all of these numbers to rise. And I always say between Halloween and Christmas are like the no man's land of buying or selling a home. A lot of people take their homes off the market during the holidays and then they relist usually in January or in the spring. So if you are a buyer, that's probably a great time to get a deal if that house is still on the market between October, say November 1st and December 31st. That'll be a great time to get a really good deal, but also that you might not have as much inventory to choose from. And as a seller, you don't want to wait until Halloween, then you have Thanksgiving, then you have Christmas. So you don't want to wait until the end of October to list your house. So if you're in the market and you're thinking about selling or you are thinking about buying, definitely give the Hill team a call. We have 5-star reviews, several 5-star reviews. So check out our reviews. We do consultations, phone consultations, Zoom consultations. So just let us know when you're ready. Thank you so much. If you have any questions about a market update, or if you want a more specific one to your neighborhood or your zip code, just email me at info@hillteamatlanta.com. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.